Hi everybody, welcome back. I know it's been a minute, but I am here. It's the summer. I know like everything has been like going crazy with California specifically. Again, like I always say, please pray for us out here in California. It has been a lot going on since the top of the year. Please be safe. Please make sure you have your credentials if you are affected. And make sure that you just check in on your people, check in on your tribe. Make sure that you reset personally, regroup if you need to. But, you know, California has been going through a lot since the top of the year. And I thought that it was going to be like, oh, it's over. Nope, it is still continuing. And with everything that's going on with the administration, just make sure that you take care of yourselves. Self-care for me, and especially with QOP, is always the first mantra that we always have. So without further ado, I have brought back my IG Live Talk. I know it's been a minute, but QOP and even myself personally has been going through a lot of stuff. Good stuff though, by the way. But I have been busy, and honestly, QOP has transitioned and pivoted so much so with everything that has been going on with Hollywood. We have now pivoted. We still are giving resources and giving the information that's going on with film and TV, especially with Hollywood. I know that recently there has been an approval with the $750 million tax incentive that has been out here. So shout out to Stay in LA 2025. They have definitely been boots on the ground, where them fans at, being able to give us the information and the resources that is out here in the effects that's going on with the film and TV tax incentives, specifically here in California. So shout out to them. If you want to know more that's going on, make sure you follow Stay in LA 2025. You will find all the updates that's been going on since that approval and everything that's going to be moving forward, because they definitely do a lot of reposts on there for articles. They even have rallies themselves and other in-person entities that you can go and support and fellowship. So please support us. So, like I said, I have been pivoting a lot. I know with the IG Live Talk, I also did at the top of the spring, I did like a whole series in regards to social media content production. Shout out to all the special guests that we had for that entity, but myself included has now pivoted over into that space. So now I really am you're going to see a lot more of that, like social media content production, resources and entities if you are interested in doing production. I know that some things that I have been doing recently, BTS production when it comes to like events, supporting other people's like entities that they're doing. I come and do like as a BTS producer. Also social media editor. If you are in the editing space, that's another space to get into that you can pivot into. If you have those skills in film and TV, that has been an experience of mine, and I have amazing clients. Shout out to E3 Radio, shout out to Girl Sound. Those are my amazing 2 clients so far that I've really been able to see their content just blossom, and being able to just help with various requests that they need, being able to see that grow. So just because Hollywood is on pause, or just still things are kind of a little bit slowly coming back, does not mean that you need to stop producing or stop creating. Find other genres and find other entities that you can be able to storytell. And so that's why I always love doing the IG Live Talk, because it helps and give those entities, especially I can ask questions from people that are in my field and also outside my field as well. So without further ado, I'm so excited for this conversation, because this is my homegirl, this is my friend, this is my bestie, this is my friend, this is my sister. When they say have a tribe, okay? This is the one right here. This one is part of my tribe, and I'm so excited to be able to dive into her story. We talk a lot on DM and like really have all these topics, and I'm like, girl, it's time for you to get on the platform. It's time for you to get interviewed, because you are doing amazing things. Shout out to my sister Jhayla, who is from Detroit, and she has been bouncing, being booked and busy, not only in Detroit with her indie. I would say she's like the queen of indie for me, because I know a little bit of indie filmmaking just because I pivoted over also into archival production with documentaries. So I really work with a lot of like indie clients or indie directors, but I don't know nothing about like indie filmmaking and the whole production side. So I be getting tidbits just from her myself. So shout out to just everything that she has done with her like personal projects to the projects that she gets put on. Like she's done not only indie, but she's also done some big networks too as well, that she will also talk about. And just being just a vessel for many mentees and those who want to get into the field and may not have the, A, B, C, D path to get into it, and the way that you get into it is such a roller coaster. I'm just so like amazed with her. I was able to get introduced to Jhayla at the top of me being able to spark QOP. She was like the first of the tribe that really had joined and has been my like cheerleader and really just been supporting me not only personally as a producer but really opened my eyes because she's been in so many pockets. She's not only an indie filmmaker, but she's like tapped into writing, directing, and now editing herself. Pivot, keeps you booked. And so you'll be able to tap into her story. So without further ado, let me go ahead and get my friend up in here. Let's see if I can add her into the mix. Excited, y'all, because this is about, let me tell you something. The conversations that we be having on DM, you gonna get it live.
Hey,
how you doing? Come on,
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I feel like both of us is in a good glow.
We are.
You know,
We are. The sun's hitting. It's giving.
listen, and it's hot.
Emerging.
It's hot over here in Cali. So without further ado, thank you so much, Jhayla, for just really being on this platform of ours, of our IG Live Talk series. It's not only just for me as just your sister, your friend, but as a spectator of the work that you do. I am beyond proud of everything that you have gotten yourself into. People who get you in the room, who say your name without the room. Let me tell you something. This queen right here, she goes shout me out AQOP when I'm in the room and when I'm out the room, and especially when you need to have people that really shout you out the room, because when you're not out the room, you don't know how people's perspectives and expectations or people's like personas of you when you're not around, and to have people to really be like, nah, like this girl, like to vet. That's someone you really got to cherish. And so I really honestly thank you so much for being a part of the IG Live Talk series and just being a true sister, my friend.
Thank you, girl. Thanks for having me.
You're
Yes, I
welcome.
remember the Zooms. I used to hop on the Zooms.
Listen, back in the day, and you know what's so crazy? Like, just to think of all the skill sets that we didn't even think we were going to explore then that we're tapped into now. Let me go ahead, without further ado, good. Tell the people who you are and what are some of the things that you have been able to like just tap into as a storyteller, indie, I would say my queen of indie filmmaker.
Thank you. Thank you. So, my name is Jhayla Mosley. I'm an independent filmmaker out of Detroit, Michigan. But I also do a few things in production. So I hop back and forth between Detroit and LA. I do award shows, I do unscripted, scripted, and my goal really is to make the indie filmmaking space better, more professional, more safe, and more kind. So I try to get training in other places and I try to work in other places and I just try to bring it back to the community and just try to create a space so we can make better films and create jobs and open doors and stuff. So
That part. You one thing I will say, you do keep that like you keep the not no gatekeeping when it comes to you. Like that door is wide open. And tell me, like, even just before some of like the big projects that you've been on, let's even just start from like the beginnings. What made you decide that, oh my gosh, like this is kind of the career path that I want to get into? And did you have that support or tribe when you first started?
I did. I did. Like when they say kind of network across, I had basically pulled in a bunch of people who are like, hey, we all want to do movies, but we don't have the money. We don't have anybody to help us do these films. And so I was working at Amazon at the time. And
Oh
then
wow.
I didn't have any money. But I was just connecting with people like, let's just do a movie, let's just do a movie, let's just do a movie, let's just do a movie. And I was just pulling my research. I got a whole school. The principal gave me the keys. It's crazy. It's very easy. It's way easier to film in Michigan because people aren't used to people filming, so you can get a lot of good locations. So I was like, hey, I'm trying to shoot a movie. So I was just use my grandma's house, use my mom's house, and then
Use
it
your
was just a bunch
resources.
of people,
Yeah.
and we just made the movie, and then after that, producers here had saw the movie I made, and then they were like, I'll give you XYZ if you make this, and that's just kind of how it started from there.
And so, did you? Because I know, like, so many. Look, one thing I will understand and respect about us as freelancers is that there's so many paths that we can get into in the beginning, right? Some go to school, some go with a fellowship, some go just through friends or through connections. Through some go through nepotism. So.
That's so
So
real.
did you go the traditional route? Did you go to school, film school, and then da 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 da, or what really got you into get into the entry level skills of being a filmmaker?
So I started off as an actress when I was like 16 years old.
Wow.
And then I got into this off Broadway play, and they were like, "You guys have to go to New York." So my parents saved up some money so I could go to New York, and then I was doing theater for a really long time, and I started off as an actress, and then I went dormant for a really long time, and then I was on set, and I remember asking the director, "Can I come in on my off days? Because
Yeah.
I just want to get a peek." You know, and I would just fell in love with it. Like I was just watching everyone do their thing. Like I would just post up and just kind of be a fly on the wall. And then I'm like, this is really what I want to do. Like I want to be a filmmaker. Like I love acting and I'll always do that, but I want to be a filmmaker. So that's really how it started for me. I've been acting for like 13 years, and then I just transitioned.
And so for you, like in regards to, going in through the acting route, what would be some of the benefits of going through the acting route? Because you get to see the script from like a different perspective. So like tell me like what's kind of the benefit, or like someone like as a director like wanting to go in, what is the benefit in the awareness of how you treat your talent when you come in for as a filmmaker?
I think it's one of the biggest advantages because you're already a better writer. Because what I learned is no one really knows a script or some of these characters more than the actors do because they have to break them down to like a pulp. So
That makes sense.
you become a better writer. You understand beats a little bit more when it comes to communication in that language of what you like to hear as an actor. You kind of have that, you know what I mean? And especially how you treat people, it helps when you're doing production and stuff like that, checking on actors when they're doing like this crazy scene when they're tied up, like, hey, you need some water. Hey, is it safe? Hey, is this, you know what I mean? And just really making people comfortable, and even it helps me even when I AD. I'm like, I don't want to keep people here forever, and how do I want to rotate the actors and stuff. So when you're an actor, you really do get a bird's eye view of like the cast and the crew and stuff. So it kind of helped flip.
Wow. And so once had your groove into the acting, what made you pivot from in front of the camera to behind the camera? What
I
was
wasn't
that one
really.
project that like made you switch?
So it's this project called Hope 911, and it's about mental health. It's about suicide, and so the program, they turned it into a 4-part curriculum, and they put it through schools all through Detroit. you know. And then after that, I was like looking at projects. I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna just start being an actor and start.
Yeah.
So I was looking at projects locally, and I wasn't really liking some of the projects. And I was just like, I can't relate to some of these stories. It's not like all of them are bad stories, but I just couldn't relate. So I'm like, nah, I'm gonna start telling the stories that I want to tell that makes me comfortable and empowered as a woman, where I know if I read this, I can see myself in it, and I can see myself being like respected. So I'm like, I just want to do my own stories now.
Yeah. And so for you, like I know for me, like as a producer, I think the moment I knew like, okay, this is where I want to be was like in the interview room. And like being able to have like those conversations with various talent, ones that you got to calm down to the ones that are old and like the ones that may have a speech impediment, and you really got to like take time to kids, because I was on Bring It, so I had to deal with, and I was the rival team producer, so I had to deal with not only the kids, but I had to deal with the coaches that if they lost, oh baby, they finna run. Like they don't care. Like they don't want to be on camera no more. Like they lost. Like they don't know. Like so like keeping that momentum and that energy and having all those lows really made me appreciate, really be like, oh, okay, girl, this is the bug. This is the bug. And so tell me, like, maybe in one of the projects that you did around that time, what was maybe that one moment that made you decide, like, oh, okay, like maybe this is something that I may want to pursue for the rest of my life. Mm-hmm.
I think when I was doing my first film, and then we wrapped and I went home and I was exhausted and I was like, it's like this bittersweet sense of relief. You know what I mean? And then everyone just drove off and I'm sitting here like, no, I want this back like when I'm Oh no, that sense of like community feeling and togetherness you get when you're working on set, like I really did miss that after I had wrapped it. I'm like, it's not just about the story in front of the camera, it's about the story behind the camera and just like how you feel like creative with all of these people. And I think that was like, no, I gotta keep this going. Mm-hmm. This made this, it's like that. It's like dopamine. Like it just left. Like, no, I need it back.
No. Get that back.
I need it back. Like
wow. And so I know the journey for you like really took off. And so for you, did you feel like you had the tools, especially in Michigan and in Detroit specifically, did you feel like you had the tools to really start your journey, your entry-level journey in this freelance world of filmmaking? Or like what were some of the challenges that you feel like you had within the midst of your journey during that time?
Ooh, so many. So, crazy. I don't know if this is the first time you're hearing the story. So I was living in LA doing syndication, right? But,
syndication! Is it okay, because I think it's just something about syndication where it's like you get into that world eventually, okay? But you don't stay. And everybody got a crazy story. I have one too. We'll talk about it. I don't know. After this story, I may have to. QOP may have to get the exclusive on live on how. Because syndication it's a job. It's a life. It's a life. Go ahead, friend.
See, the thing about syndication, though, is they do pay the bills. for it's
like, that's why I said everybody has done syndication. I know my audience here has done syndication before, somewhere in their life. I even call being I feel like syndication to me feels like being in like the Cutco, or like the like operating room, like to the teleprompter, not the teleprompter, but like the calling services, like just in and out.
Yes,
revolving door, in and out. Some, not all. So tell me your syndication experience.
I was in syndication, and it was really hard. But it was like the first week was like, yeah, I have this stable job, and it's kind of like film adjacent. Yeah. So I was like really happy. And then I was like, no, like my spirit is like to do the indie projects, films in particular, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I really like that. And so there was a person, I'm not gonna say his name, there was a guy who hit me up, like, hey, I'm doing this movie. I know you've done work in Detroit, you're out in LA right now, I'm about to do this indie project. And he did some big stuff before. Yeah. Like, and I'm gonna have you come out here and I'm gonna have you help us with some stuff. Got there, it was a nice little budget, nice little people was on it. But he had hired, okay, so you have Detroit, and then you have other cities like Grand Rapids and stuff like that. And so he had hired like a team from a whole nother city, not even from Detroit crew. So these are not the people that he expected.
Yeah.
The whole thing, him and the whole thing was kind of a train wreck, right? So I had basically quit my syndication job, working under this guy, and this whole experience, I had this messed up thing on my car, and he was weird, and it was just so much stuff that I was like, man. So I started from ground zero. I had to start over, and he gave me a lot of false promises, and due to the fact that he was weird.
I mean, isn't that some things that do happen when you are a freelancer? A lot of broken promises.
Yeah. And being a lady, I will. So I was like, nah, I'm not on that. And so blocked them, did all that, started fresh. I'm like, I'm here, I moved, I started fresh. And so God bless this man, Rocky Black. I had connected with him, and I'm like, hey, I got this story. I pitched him one. He was like, we want to do thrillers, because right now that's kind of the thing, the thrillers and the crime and the suspense. He was like, send me a thriller and we'll do it. I sent him a thriller, and just been doing a lot of these movies with him and his partner Paris ever since.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And between that, the people I was working with back in LA, they still call me back to work. But it's insane. I was brought back here by somebody completely being trash. And then I was just forced with nothing, doing DoorDash, all that. And then it's literally was like, let me meet this guy and this other dude. And he really took a chance on me, you know. So.
And so for us that, you know, are so used to, you know, because you do both. Like, you do the Hollywood life of, like, going on the network shows, going on those type of sets. And you also have, like, your indie love and your indie world as well. And so for those that don't have that indie experience and maybe want to pivot over, because I honestly think, I've been telling my people, it's the season of the pivot. And so for you, why should we pivot over into the indie space a little bit more, especially for my people that are like so used to being in the union, being in the, like, and you have experience of both? Tell me, what is the benefit of being able to pivot over into the indie space?
It's a benefit because I think the indie space needs people who are Hollywood trained and can go on these sets and know how to operate a set in a very professional way and have those expectations, but be able to bring it to the indie world. Now, one thing that I will say is that sometimes I notice when you're doing these projects, these union sets in LA, you kind of have your mindset on it being like that. You know what I mean? In terms of like, it has to be like that. It has to. When you don't have a lot of resources, you work within your means a lot. So you want the best product with the few locations, few people that you can have, not trying to make this big thing. You know what I mean? Like all these stunts, crazy stunts, car blowing up, car flipping. When you don't have the money, and now it's gonna look cheap. You know, so it's like, do things in a contained way, using the Hollywood training that you have and all the people that you know that can make these big things. Now you have raised the production value of the entire indie space because you're doing these contained things on a professional and trained level. I think we need more people, you know, from LA doing these indie projects, especially production coordinators, AD, production managers, directors, and editors. You know what I mean? Who know that, but also know how to, and it does operate pretty fast. We don't have as many days. So it's like understanding, how do I direct? Like, we have to have a different level of like pre-production and stuff like that. But I don't think that they should be scared. Just have the mindset like I'm already trained and used to these type of sets, so I can do the indie space. It's just a mindset thing, making sure everybody's with you, you know.
Yeah. And I think even too, like, I think even having that mindset, like you said, like how we go on these union sets and have the mindset like, oh, it's already going to be like, oh, we already know it's going to be Hollywood. Oh, we already know, like, we got to go abide by these rules and protocols. I think for when we go and pivot into other spaces, we have to understand and respect those spaces, their spaces, and see
Mm-hmm.
how our skills, like you said, can advocate rather than overbear, which has happened before to Detroit, specifically in the indie space. So tell me, like, of course, we know Tubi. We know that Tubi, when they kicked off some of their accelerating programs and some of their groups when they first started, some of the main cities that really like got the hold of it was Detroit. And so tell me a little bit of the experience, if you can, for you as an indie filmmaker, seeing that in real time happen. Did it support some of your indie filmmakers? For you specifically, did it support? And how has like the indie filmmaking space changed for the good or changed for a little bit of like the tweak once Tubi came into play?
I think it changed for the good, but I feel like some of the side effects were also bad at the same time, but mainly for the good. And it's crazy because I've seen people with my own two eyes really come up and just have all these opportunities, all these money, all this chance to, it really created freedom for us in terms of making art. You know what I mean? Like we don't have to double check with anybody else to make a movie.
I
You
was
know, we
gonna
just call
ask
each
before
other.
you continue, was there any representation of Detroit even in Hollywood TV film in the mainstream media space?
No, not really. We have a few things. Like we had It Follows,
Okay.
that was really big, and then we had Blair Witch Project that came
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
We had like, Kasim, and he did Muslim, and then recently he just did To Live and Die. That just went to Sundance. So we
Yeah.
had like these people in terms of like that, and a lot of people here, they start off doing plays. You know what I mean? And then they kind of went off doing like indie film projects. But
Yeah.
it's always, we have Motown here. Detroit has always been a mecca for performing arts, and music. You know what I'm saying? So we've always, had those examples. But in terms of like, we had Transformers and Batman shot here, but it was always segregated. You have these people who work in the commercial space because we shoot a lot of car commercials here. Ford, all that's here. So all the car commercials, a lot of those get shot here. And a
Yeah.
lot of the people who was doing those car commercials, when Batman and all those big movies came to Detroit, when we had the credit before it was taken away, they was just going on to those sets. But all those commercial sets, it wasn't a lot of people of color on them.
Yeah.
So what the indie space did is it opened up a lane for Black people in Detroit to make movies that they could profit off of and don't have to go through all of these people, because if I'm being real, the only people who was really benefiting from the film community were people that were white.
Yeah.
Or were in the commercial space. Or if we were never department heads. We were production assistants and maybe some actors. But it was always segregated, and it still is segregated, because when they shot Beverly Hills Cop here not too long ago, only so many of us were on that set. Even though Detroit is one of the blackest cities in America, a lot of these department heads and XYZ, I didn't really see them so much on that set.
From that end. Wow.
So sometimes when Hollywood does drop into Detroit, only so many of the Detroit film community really get access.
And that's why, we're seeing now with the fight of these tax incentives with other places, they're like, yeah, you can come to our other places, but you have to hire our locals, because I think that's what happens when it comes to, other productions that go to other spaces to utilize their cities for their, projects. They use the city, but they don't show the city. And that's why I love like our new era of directors like the Ryan Cooglers, Lena Waves, that are doing places like The Shy, and you see it's Chicago, you see it's the people, you hear it in the music, you see it in the transitions, that it's that city. Where as far as, like you said, Batman or, the other entities, yeah, they were there to shoot it, and yeah, they may have probably sprinkled the little entities of the city, but do you really see the people? On camera
Exactly.
and behind camera being supported as well. So yeah, wow. And so when Tubi came along, how did they become a vessel when it came to the indie filmmaker space for Detroit in the pipeline?
Man.
I
It
know
just
it's because it can be broken up into damn near a college course of
it,
how.
and that's what I mean when I say it's overall it's a good thing, but when you have a lot of a good thing, there's always consequences and other things that come out. Even though we profit, there are still some people who don't really, get the shorter end of the stick, XYZ. But what it did is it opened the door for us to tell our stories, make a lot of money from them, and be able to tell more of these stories without seeking approval from a network.
Wow.
And also, while there are some people who do other types of stories, it also opened up the door for people who, because thrillers are kind of the thing now. So people who really want to do, like our work under Rocky Black and Paris Jones, like they're kind of an example. They do great movies. You know what I mean? Thriller, suspense, crime. It's women that aren't being dressed up as like prostitutes, or not everyone is being like called the B word 24/7. You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
And
Yes.
so it opened up the doors for all urban content, but some is a little bit, it exploits us as a community, and so that's what I didn't like. But it also opened up the doors for us to really kind of take control of our own stories, and do certain things like thrillers, crime, rom-coms, in that lane. So it did create a double-edged sword. Now that everybody knows, and the potential, some people really do take advantage of it, and they'll be like, well, everybody knows drugs, sex, and money. Yeah, that's gonna create views for people, and really kind of like baiting, using their films to like bait, and then other people,
They're film baiting,
girl. Yes, like some films.
But you know what? I would agree to that, because Tubi did do it in a way where, through marketing and through the movies, it was getting to a point where it was like you wanted to see some of the movies have like a girl moment for somebody to go ahead and watch. Like people complaining about the hair switching, or people complaining about like other entities in the scenes not matching. Dang.
Yeah, some movies they put a whole bunch of drugs, sex, and all this stuff in it, because I know that that's what they're gonna watch, and like, so then they know that some of those movies are gonna make money, and then you have other people that are like, no, we can tell a story in a more clean way. Like one of the companies I work with, I'm barely even allowed to cuss in the scripts that I send to them. They're very family oriented. They want, you be able to sit down with your kids and your wife and whoever, be able to watch these stories without being like, you know what I mean? So there are some production companies that have those standards and morals and ethics to them, but there's some people that just like, we're just here to get it checked because we know that that's what it comes with. So that's a huge debate that kind of goes on, is like purpose versus profit. I feel like every industry has that purpose versus profit debate, but I am somebody who's just like, how can you lean off both, because you need to make money off of a movie to make another movie.
Exactly.
So I think that's where the skill is making the movie entertaining without feeling like, dang, am I calling somebody a B word, they're having sex with each other, and they're just doing all this crazy stuff just to bait people to watch. Like, let's, be moral when we make these movies. They don't have to be, 100%. That all the time. But
100%. And so for you, what has been happening recently with Detroit? I know that there's been like a recent topic that's been going on in regards to something happened in Detroit. There was a film that went down there. Somebody did a film and they didn't give just due to the particular filmmakers that were involved with the project. So tell me a little bit more about it if you can, and tell me, for you, from your experience, why is it happening where projects or productions are exploiting, indie cities, as I would say, and not really giving just due the filmmakers or the crew that is there in the entity. Why are they playing with them? Because I know sometimes in Hollywood they do be playing with them, and shout out to the unions that do give the just due, but indies don't have that experience. So kind of tell me about that incident, and how do you feel like, how did it make you feel in that moment in real time?
So there were these executive producers from, I believe, New Mexico.
New Mexico?
Girl. It's New Mexico. But
if y'all, I'm gonna pop the, when I do a recap, because I'm gonna do this bit right here, I'm going to show you the flyer of the movie. I wouldn't have thought that the EPs who did this film that I thought was from Detroit were from New Mexico. Okay, go on, go for it.
Yes, it's this couple. I mean, they say that they were from Detroit back in the day, but basically they were not in the Detroit film community. Hey, came here, partnered with another one of our local filmmakers, and they did this movie. And so when they did the movie, a lot of the crew members, when they were on set, were just not happy with it. We're just happy when the days were over. They had discrepancies with some of the executive producers. A few things with pay, and so they threw this big premiere that doubled as a concert with like Detroit artists, Dej Loaf, Trick. I think they had Dougie Fresh there. And it was a concert.
Trick. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was like a concert first, I believe, and then they did the premiere. It was like this big thing with the cities, like kind of like
it's a good marketing idea.
Yeah, it's like here, see these artists, and then see the movie. I thought that was a great idea.
Yeah,
but then at the end, when the credits start rolling, people's names got botched. Candace Fowler, they put her name as Candace Swallows. Ro Dazon, they put his name as, I don't want to say a bad word. And then my friend CJ, he wasn't even included in the credits at all. They didn't even credit him at all, and he was one of the camera operators. So they botched 3 people's credits because they were angry about disagreements. I was telling somebody, if every executive producer who was angry with a crew member decided to botch their credits, we would have a lot of people's credits being botched. Mrs. showed up to set an hour late, so I went into OT. Mrs. No-show, Mrs. da-da-da-da. So whatever argument it was, I'm pretty sure there is an executive producer or a producer who has went through worse and still chose not to botch somebody's credits. And the editor on that film was the last hero to save those credits before they released it, because once you type somebody's name like that, and you hand it over, you kind of being an enabler too. So it just created this big thing, like, wow. It just created this big thing, and we don't play like that. And so it was just kind of like everyone just went on Facebook. Say her name right, say his name right. This is not okay. This is not okay. And it really just blew up. And I still think people should keep talking about it. I know that the movie went into Imagine theaters locally, and I'm not sure if they changed it or not, but if they did change it, it was not announced, but you did that at the premiere. And then also some of the crew members said that they weren't invited to the premiere, and it's really sad. And yeah, it's just kind of an example of like, y'all come here, I know y'all spent all this money on this movie and stuff, and you guys were upset that things didn't go your way, but like, you are kind of disrespecting a whole community by thinking that you can disrespect a few of these people. And I really like how we all came together, like everybody, even
let me tell you something. Well, it took noise over here because I sent it to you. I was like, "What's going on?" And when you told me, I was like, "Oh, But, you know, like, I've also had the experience of being, like, you know, you work hard on a project and stuff like that, and, you know, your credit gets, like, mixed up in the mix, and it hurts. Like, you put all that hard work and a little slip up, and then, like, you know, of course, with other people, they make it be like, oh, you know, it's supposed to happen. Like, you know, like, it's not a big deal. But when you really work hard and when you waking up in the middle of the, like, all the sacrifice that you had to do, like, you know, and if it was a counterpart, baby, your credit would have been right there in 2 seconds within inches, okay? Or they would have been suing. So it really does, you know, for those that are in the indie space, it really does hurt that when you don't get the credit that you deserve, that you have to go through all the rigmaroles. You know what I'm saying? Well, the person that does have their credit, they get to smile. You know what I'm saying? Like, they ain't got to go through the rigmaroles and all that stuff. So definitely that's why I wanted to have you on the platform, to really be able to bring awareness to that incident, and to, like, really understand, like, Detroit really has a lot of good, amazing, creative filmmakers, and you don't play with them. Don't play with them.
Yeah, don't.
When y'all came out on when I saw it on Facebook, I said, oh, y'all got the people on Facebook, because normally I differentiate the two. Instagram is like my, like, you know, generation. TikTok, of course, but Facebook, that's college. That's fam. That's, you know, reunion. So when you getting business over there, oh, that means the news is talking. So
yeah, blew up on Facebook.
Honey, and they was giving receipts, names, pictures of the event, how it looked like, the credits, how it looked. I was like, oh wow, they're that bold. But the thing is, to me, is like, you would want your own project to look botched like you that mad where you want your own project to look botched like that. Like, that is that is an entitlement. Like, and that's why I feel like, to me, no shade, some people should not be executive producers. That title.
Oh no, 1,000%, because it's really about honor. At the end of the day, it's a lot of that's about honor. Like, you honor yourself, the project, and the people you're working with, no matter the cost. And it takes a certain person for that.
Yeah.
You know.
Wow.
Now it was low. Then that hit a little bit.
Wow. And so for you, 2 more questions before we wrap up for the IG Live Talk. One of the big ones for you, is there any current projects that you would like to talk about that you have going on, that are you working on in Detroit, or have you been moving around since then with these personal projects that you can tell?
So I have a few projects. I have 5 projects that are in post.
Girl,
right now.
Is that what? Girl, damn.
I know, it's crazy.
I felt like that was Kevin Hart, like the interview.
It's since November has been crazy.
Do you have time for a lot?
I do now, because they're all at the end. Like, one just got delivered, other one I'm finishing up the trailer, another one a couple of them I'm not editing, and one I just wrote on. But there's this film called Broken Bonds. I'm super, super excited because just the way we filmed it, I think we just went so hard on that project. We got all this crazy equipment. We was on a farm, like, and it's a crime thriller. You know what I mean? So, and I love crime. So that one's coming out.
That is your jam, girl. That is your bread and butter.
I love it. And I have a few projects that are coming out as Tubi originals.
Congratulations!
Thank you. So I got a couple originals, and then I'm just right back to writing, and then I have The Seafood Wife 2. It's a sequel that I did of this film called The Deceitful Wife. So I just turned that one in, so that one's coming out probably before the end of this month. And so, yeah, and then I have one project that's pending Tubi original. So I have some originals coming off. And
I love that, friend, for you. And so I know for you, like, are you gonna celebrate? Like, because I don't feel like people don't celebrate their projects like they used to anymore. They be popping their ish. I need you to pop your ish, friend, if you can.
I will. I'm gonna do better marketing I'm gonna take a vacation, do better marketing. I'm gonna celebrate, my case to my crew and stuff like that. So that's what I'm figuring out now. Like, what are the after activities? And I'm waiting on the release dates on some of these projects too. So I'm like trying to plan that. But you're right. It has to be something that like
Told you.
Yeah, that you hold on to way longer.
Yeah, yeah. And so my last question I would say for you is, any advice for people who are figuring out their crossroads and figuring out where they're trying to go in their next route for filmmaking, where they felt like things are kind of still not as in the groove for freelancing as they should. What would be some advice for those that really kind of want to maybe get into the indie space? What would be some general tips to consider?
I say talk to your community and just collaborate and just spend more time planning than you do thinking. Like that's the main thing. It's like if you're thinking about it, you're thinking about it all the time that you spend thinking about it could have went to planning. And a lot of the planning goes to you having a conversation to the person who's going to be on your team. It's a group effort. So when you're thinking and you're trying to figure something out, the best thing to do is to just call somebody and be like, hey, how much is this? And, look up places and see how much it costs. I mean, on one project, I was thinking on it too long, and I was just like, I have some money. I'm gonna pay for this location, and I'm just going to make myself do it, and then everything else went into place. You know what I mean? So it's like I didn't financially tie myself to this place, so now I have to finish. And so sometimes you got to do something big to be like, oh, I'm in it, and now just keep going and just I say just do it. I truly believe when you think on it too long, a year will go by and you'll be like, damn. Well, that was that. When you can just soon as you think of it, I say give it a day, and then the next day go around planning, really going into action. I have that problem too. I be thinking about stuff too much. Like, girl, just write the thing. Just write it.
And I think I just was watching this video with Tracy Baker Simmons, and she was talking about like us that like as creatives we're thinking about stuff all the time to the point where it's literally like it's literally too much. Hence why I have I plan. I have sticky notes. You know what I'm saying? I'm a very old school. I still take notes. So but it's like constantly we're always thinking about like what's the next thing? What's something else that we could be able to do? And so I think being able to, like you said, you could pivot in so many entities. You've done the network side and you've done the indie side, and being able to bounce between the two. Trust me, as I feel like as a storyteller, it keeps your vessels like flowing and going, and you get to really see like, okay, like I can be able to be in the glossy world, but then I can get down and dirty, be boots on the ground, and still be able to tell that story the same way all the way through. So, Jhayla, it's been a joy to talk with you, my amazing sister. I'm so proud of you. You have a lot of projects coming up, you know what I'm saying? And I need you to celebrate. I need you to take the break and celebrate, okay?
Thank you.
Listen, okay? Because
I
do. To be doing that in this environment that we are in, like, stellar. Keep it going. Like, if you think that you are like, I'm tired, no. I hope I'm proof to you that you better keep going, friend.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. I will. Yeah. I will. You know what I mean? Because I get discouraged too. I'm not where I'm at as a filmmaker. I'm still learning during the process. I'm still learning. But
but it's the trusting of the process is what I think makes it so special. You got to trust the process. Like, I even go through it, but it makes it so much better. It makes you such a stronger EP than those that just take the credit, get the check, and go. Because it's so much more than that. I think too, just before we even go, like I tell even all the time, like systems have really sucked the fun out of making and creating beautiful projects that we do. And oh my gosh, like it's even like because I was even talking to someone about this the other day, and they were like, like you have been on like some good projects. And I'm like, yeah, but when you're in it, it's just like roller coaster. And then it's just like when you're in the end of it, you really don't appreciate it until months later when the show air dates and you're like, oh yeah, I did do that. Oh. And then you go back into the memories and be like, dang, like, okay. So now I've really like flipped my perspective and being like, I don't go on these sets like if I do go back, it's gonna be my own stuff. But when I do go back, I want every experience to be fun. Like, make it be every day should be like a rap party. Like, period. You should have fun. Like, I remember I was on this old show and my friend used to take the AP took photos, and I was going through my stuff and I found the photos and I'm like, wow, damn, we we towed up on that set, and just having those moments. I feel like now I hear people and they're like, oh my God, like I quit, or they're talking about they was crying, or they were talking about they done cursed somebody out. Like, why are you cursing somebody out for a check?
And it don't even be that deep.
Not even that deep. It be about you getting the call sheet and you fighting me because you didn't get the call sheet for me, but you could have hopped your little butt over and printed it your damn self, but you don't know how to use the printer because you don't know how to convert a document. And in that case, and then we're in that words of what I would say for QOP, we'll wrap it out for today. But thank you so much. I'm serious, because people really will try to fight you on set for the simple for a walkie.
No, literally. That people be beefing about them call sheets. Let me tell you.
And lunch.
Learn about an AD, them call sheets.
And lunch. That's them two things.
Call sheet and lunch will ruin the whole relationship.
And location. If they ain't got no parking, you gonna hear about it all day. Yeah. You gonna hear about it all day. Like, they couldn't afford parking. They just had it in the budget. They could afford call sheet, but they couldn't afford no parking. I'm tired. Give me the footage. I don't want to take me to post production. I just want to be the editor and watch the footage. That's it.
Right. That's why I love post. That's why I love post.
Oh my gosh. I've been in post and have been in love with it ever since. So before we go, where can our fellow QOP members follow you and follow your projects?
You can follow me on Instagram at Jhayla, Jhayla. On Facebook, the same name. I'm about to have a website. It's just Jhayla.com. So that should be up in a couple days. But right now, Instagram, and then I have 424 Films page on here. I'm about to be more active. That's my production company. And so, those 3 pages.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being an amazing special guest on our IG Live Talk series. Amazing work that you do, and of course, make sure you follow Jhayla. Make sure you support her projects. Make sure you click up if you see them originals on there. Click, watch, so we can be able to get more projects from you and everything. But I'm not worried about that because, girl, every time I blink, you be doing 11 other projects. So listen, you are in good hands.
Thank you.
I always say with QOP, live, love, and create. Make sure you support your tribe, pour into your tribe, because those are the people that are going to be the future Emmy winners. So you better be able to pour into them so that way you can be able to be in the success in the journey as well. So, bye, girl. I will talk to you separately because I know we got to talk about some other things. But my members and my audience, I shall see y'all later this week. Bye, y'all.
All right, see you.